Ciao a tutti and welcome back to One More Taste. I'm so glad you guys have joined me again yet for another episode, and today we're going to be trying out our nice almond flour crust margherita pizza. So, you guys have joined me to learn how to make almond flour crust margherita pizza. I know you're excited as much as I am. So, a little backstory with me and this type of pizza, or pizza in general. Now, being a New Yorker, I absolutely love pizza. I love Sicilian slices. I love thin crust. I love a vegan crust. You name it. Any pizza shop in the city between, 125th Street all the way down to, Alphabet City, I have been to that pizza place, okay? So I have had my fair share of the best of the best. But nothing, and I mean nothing, beats my experience in Italy. In fact, I had the opportunity in 2008 to 2009 to perform in over 44 regions in Italy in the musical Hair. During that time, I've had my fair share of pizza and among many other types of meals, but namely Napoli, which is where margherita pizza originates from. All you need is a nice, good block of mozzarella cheese, basil, tomato sauce, olive oil, and that good crust, and you're ready to go. Well, today's remix is with almond flour. Some of the original ingredients, of course, I don't have here in Taiwan, but hopefully it gives you that sense of Italy every time you take a bite. So shall we start? Here we go. So for this recipe, you're gonna need 2 cups of shredded cheese, 1 cup of almond flour, 1 egg, 1 ounce of cream cheese or 2 tablespoons, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. You're going to want to have your whisk and your rolling pin as well, and then something to stir everything up. All right. Now let's get started. So the 2 cups of mozzarella cheese with the cream cheese tablespoons together need to actually combine and be popped into the microwave for about 45 seconds. And since I have an air fryer, I put it in for about sometimes upwards to 3 minutes while opening up the door periodically, let's say every 2 to 3 seconds, okay? And once that kind of starts to melt, then we can take the next step. You can already smell the cheese melting. It's so delicious. One of the things I loved about being in Italy was the fact that you can eat so much of this and not really gain any weight. Have you guys noticed that? I can hear you right now. You've been to Europe, right? You're like, what's in the water? What type of tomatoes they got? What is in the food where you don't have to gain 100 pounds every time you're eating pizza and patatina fritte, which is fries, of course, for those of you who don't know. But yeah, it's been such a long time since I really experienced that proprio Italiano pizza. Can't wait to go back. Okay, I think our cheese is ready now. Let's take a look. You see that? It's nicely semi kind of glossy, which means that it's starting to melt, of course. And we just want to combine that, right? The bowl will be hot, so you can combine it as best as you can, right? This would probably make a really good dip. Coming up in the series, cheesy dip, right? So you really want to combine those 2 items, those 2 cheeses, and crack it in there. Right? Don't get it on your cutting board like I was about to do, okay? And now you're going to combine with other ingredients. I really just love recipes with baking powder. Almond flour doesn't really rise like other flours, but there is that element of the taste of a bread base, which is, I believe, why it was included in the recipe. So, it's to give you that hint of real pizza, right? Man, I still need my mitten. This thing is hot. So combine all those things, and very soon you're going to use your hands to form this dough completely. So get ready to bring out your parchment paper, because you're gonna roll this thing onto there between 2 sheets. So you're gonna need your parchment paper, 2 sheets of it, sandwich in your dough, and a rolling pin. I'll show you that next. Okay, that's pretty good. So we have our parchment paper out, and you know I gotta take off these rings. Can't have the jewelry all up in the cheese. Okay. One out. Here we are. Gotta roll, okay. Get this onto the parchment paper. This will be your base. You roll your dough. Really get the bottom of that. Don't let any bits of the almond flour get lost in the bowl. You're gonna wanna eat every bit of the almond flour, every single bit, okay? All right. My hands are clean, okay. Go. Get a little messy now. Let's see some more baking powder. Okay. And va bene così. All right. So we're gonna form that just like you do any other recipe that requires a dough. You can pat it, just squeeze it in there. Every time I do this, I think of those old Hogan dolls. You guys remember the Stretch, or is it Stretch Armstrong? I get that confused sometimes. There's Stretch Armstrong, and then I think Hulk Hogan also had a line of dolls back in the 90s. It's just like, you know, or even Play-Doh, right? I know that's pretty much fun. See all the herbs and the spices, you see that? This is gonna be good. Now, usually I make about 2 or 3 of these because I usually give my wife and I an individual pan pizza. So who knows, maybe I'll feel a type of way and give you guys two versions of this pizza. Sometimes I put all types of toppings, like I love pineapple Hawaiian pizza. I know people don't always love that, that's an acquired taste, but I love pineapple pizza with bacon and pineapples, and of course, sometimes I do a hamburger pizza, but today we're doing margarita, so here we are. Now you have your dough. You're gonna place another piece of parchment paper right on top of that dough. You can start to use your hands to flatten it a little bit, but the biggest flattening process will happen with the rolling pin. So just start to roll, right? Pizza. See that? Sometimes I'll turn it. Now, because I don't have a proper oven, I sometimes cut this in half, but if you have a big oven, you can really roll out this whole thing. But what you're gonna see next is my halving of this, because I just realized that I don't have that real estate here. So right when you see the next circle, it'll be from a half of the entire dough batch, but you can use your whole dough batch. Now sometimes with this particular type of flour and cheese, it might be a bit overwhelming. You might not have the perfect circle, but don't fret. Just take your hands, take pieces of it, and start to mold it like clay. Really, whatever shape you want, it's up to you. You can have a square pizza like a Sicilian, a traditional Sicilian, or you can have like the traditional circular. It's up to you. Don't worry about it. There's really no wrong way to do it. By the way, you want to roll it to about a 1/4 inch thick, so not too thin. Okay, so after rolling, you might not get a perfect circle, but this is what I have here. It's usually kind of a mini pan pizza. I actually remember there used to be a Kmart by area that I used to live in the Bronx, and they would have like a Pizza Hut inside. So just imagine you're making mini pizzas for that one personal pan. But if you have, like I said, a traditional big oven, make that whole batch and then form it how you want on a pizza pan. Okay, so how I usually do it is I take my fingers and I kind of lift up a little crust, which has a little bit of a, I'd say, what do you call it? A little bit of like a divot. That's the right word. That creates that crust look, and I keep turning my crust on the parchment paper to make that circle. Mind you, it matters, but it doesn't, because once this thing is cooked, you're gonna see a pizza, okay? You're gonna see a pizza for sure. Okay. All right. Will you look at that? 10 minutes has passed, and now our crust is ready for toppings. Get your ladle, get your tomato sauce, your mozzarella cheese, and of course your fresh basil. Now, me personally, I only do this process with the tomato sauce and mozzarella first, allow that to cook and heat up, and at the very end, I add my basil leaves because I don't want them to be so crunchy. It's your preference, right? I actually put them on top of the mozzarella and tomato sauce after the fact, let it sit in the air fryer for about like a minute or so, and lo and behold, we have very melted in basil leaves, and I actually prefer it that way. I like to taste that basil, not crunch it up. Yeah? Okay, so here, I would say if you have a ladle like mine, it's probably about, I don't know, it might be a third cup. Don't quote me on it. You can put as much as you want, but since I have a mini pizza, I'm not gonna go too hard. There you go. I like to use something round like this ladle so it gives that even spread of the tomato sauce, right? Now you can do homemade tomato sauce, but I know a lot of us don't have, a nonna, which is an Italian grandmother, at our beck and call. So we sometimes can do store-bought or Costco, which is what I did. But I definitely want to learn how to make my own homemade tomato sauce. I make a lot of other sauces, but pizza sauce is not one of them yet. Okay. Here we go. So keeping the same temperature you had before, hopefully you didn't turn off your oven, at 450 degrees Fahrenheit or 232 degrees Celsius, you're gonna pop this pizza right back in for 5 to 8 minutes, and then add any additional toppings you'd like, either now or after. For me, it's after, because I don't like my basil too crunchy, as I said before, and then we're gonna enjoy. So I'm adding my basil, which will cook on its own once I put it back in the air fryer. It will incubate the heat and actually be nicely meshed into the pizza. And once that's done, you cut it and serve. Now what you can do is you can actually put it on a lower heat setting in your oven or your air fryer and just cook the basil for another 2 to 3 minutes. I like to just let it sit, but at this point, I'm probably just gonna cook it to show you guys. So as you can see, this is the moment we've all been waiting for pizza to be finally sliced and served. Now, doesn't that look so delicious? Let's slice it up. Ooh. Mmm. Ooh. With these small individual pans, I usually do 4 big pieces. Now that tomato sauce is gushing out. Maybe that one too heavy on tomato sauce. It might even still be hot. Yes. Look at that. Here we go. Moment of truth. Now, if you want a more crispy crust, you can put this on a pizza pan. I don't have one, but even with kind of a softer crust, it's just so Italian. You really taste that. It might be because of the sauce I bought from Costco, but it just feels like that homegrown Italian pizza. I can't explain it. It's just really that good. I'm gonna have another bite. All right. This is just too good. I don't even know if I'm gonna wake up my wife to share it, but I'll make her own. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of One More Taste. I appreciate you. Hopefully you'll be able to comment and subscribe on the videos as we're trying to grow One More Day as a channel. We appreciate you, we love you, and I'll see you next time. Peace.